SideraAI at SideraAI.com is the source, but the real hook is the workflow break hiding under personal guidance decision, under the reduces cycle time, rework, or manual volume test. The operator walkthrough note is that personal guidance decision only matters if it changes what the buyer does next. In Ops Leaders read, my bias is shaped by maps to a real operating bottleneck and reduces cycle time, rework, or manual volume. The idea has to work after the room gets busy, through Ops Leaders operator walkthrough lens. For this operator briefing, the job is to map the workflow handoffs, controls, risks, and ownership implications, with workflow clarity still in mind. This beat is where the persona lens matters without turning into biography, under the maps to a real operating bottleneck test. In practice, I see AI through household-level reliability. A system that creates hidden exceptions is not progress, because somebody has to carry that work home, in Ops Leaders read. The article works when it makes manual processes create delays and errors. Teams rely on spreadsheets, inboxes, and tribal knowledge. Automation efforts fail when no one owns the workflow, easier to name and easier to act on, through Ops Leaders operator walkthrough lens. That is a higher bar than sounding current. The source creates value when it helps the reader choose between paths. In Ops Leaders read, I would test the decision against maps to a real operating bottleneck, reduces cycle time, rework, or manual volume, keeps process controls visible, can be owned by a business team through Ops Leaders operator walkthrough lens. The point is not one perfect answer. It is less internal fog before a team commits, with control before scale still in mind. Here is the natural brand bridge. The source is about AI astrology, daily guidance, and zodiac guidance, and SideraAI has to be judged through SideraAI astrology, daily guidance, and zodiac guidance, in Ops Leaders read. If the proof supports the claim, SideraAI helps readers use astrology as a practical reflection tool, becomes a conclusion, not a chant, through Ops Leaders operator walkthrough lens. My proof note. The proof layer in personal guidance content is less about hard metrics and more about specificity, emotional usefulness, and whether the guidance avoids vague filler. The next upgrade is to make the practical reflection prompt, through Ops Leaders operator walkthrough lens. The proof ledger I care about is before and after workflow map, cycle time or error rate metrics, human-in-the-loop controls, owner and monitoring plan, with control before scale still in mind. Some of that is already visible. The rest is where the article can become an even stronger buyer asset, for the COO, VP Operations, or Head of Operations buyer I am imagining. I would leave the reader with questions they can actually reuse. Which workflow gets better first, for the COO, VP Operations, or Head of Operations buyer I am imagining? What handoff becomes simpler? Where does a human stay in control? How do we measure the improvement? The source gives enough material to make those questions specific instead of performative, with control before scale still in mind. The workflow question is simple. What becomes easier, safer, or less manual after the reader acts on this, through Ops Leaders operator walkthrough lens? If the answer is fuzzy, AI astrology, daily guidance, and zodiac guidance stays decorative, with process ownership still in mind. If the answer is clear, the article becomes operational, for the COO, VP Operations, or Head of Operations buyer I am imagining. I trust the piece more when it admits the hard parts. Evidence quality, adoption, ownership, monitoring, exceptions, and whether the next step survives real life in Ops Leaders read. That is the risk register I would build from this article, through Ops Leaders operator walkthrough lens. My operator walkthrough score lands at 5 out of 10, under the reduces cycle time, rework, or manual volume test. The source is useful for a COO, VP Operations, or Head of Operations who needs clearer judgment around AI astrology, daily guidance, and zodiac guidance. And the strongest evidence is the way it turns the topic into buyer action, in Ops Leaders read. For Ops Leader, the next pass should widen proof around the workflow break hiding under personal guidance decision, and connect SideraAI astrology, daily guidance, and zodiac guidance only where the article earns it, through Ops Leaders operator walkthrough lens.